Hi everyone. This yoga practice will focus quite a bit on standing yoga postures. So we'll begin right here, standing at the middle of the mat. Okay. Joining your big toes so that your big toes touch, but your heels might be a little bit slightly apart. Okay. Resting your arms by your sides, standing tall. Feel your weight evenly distributed across your feet, and in particular, the ball mounts of your feet. So think ball mount of big toe, ball mount of pinky toe, and then your inner and your outer heels. Send your shoulders back, gently engaging your lower abdomen. Okay, now stay as you are and avoid any kind of overarching or leaning forward. At the same time, resist leaning back and find that middle ground in between where the spine is lengthened, the bones are stacked, and the muscles gently hugging the bones in place. Now, in several of our standing postures today, this will promote sort of a soft back bend or extension in the spine. So as we're moving through some of those poses, I'll suggest lifting your suspenders. So from here, imagine you're wearing shiny new red suspenders, and we're pulling the suspenders up and forward so that we do get rid of any arching in the back. So as you pull the suspenders up, that gently neutralizes any tilt in your pelvis. Right? So you might hear me say that quite a bit in this tutorial. So from standing, send your shoulders all the way up to your ears. And then as you exhale, breathe your shoulders back and down. And then inhale, send your arms forward. As you exhale, plug your shoulders back and in place. Inhale again and reach the arms up to the ceiling. Okay? And then pause and hold. Ground down through your feet. Take another deep breath in. And then exhale, let your arms come all the way down to your sides. Inhaling your arms forward. Exhaling, plugging your shoulders back. Inhaling your arms back up to the ceiling. Exhaling and floating your arms all the way down to your sides, reaching as you extend the fingertips. And one more time. Inhaling, sending the arms forward. Exhaling, plugging the arm bones back. Inhaling, reaching the arms up toward the ceiling. And exhale, reaching the arms out in opposite directions. Spread the fingers. And let your arms float down to your sides. Okay, so from here, separate your feet about 3.5 feet apart. Okay, so everyone's going to be slightly different on how far apart their legs will be due to flexibility in the inner thighs, the hamstrings. But a good rule of thumb is to extend your arms out to the side as we did earlier, and then sort of just eyeball where your wrist is and draw an imaginary line from your wrist down to the outside pinky edge of that foot. Okay, so as you're here, just kind of eyeball it, make sure you're even on both sides, and then gently kind of pigeon toe your feet in. What we're looking for here is from the pinky edge to the outer heel, that's lined up with the edges of your yoga mat. Then grounding down through your feet, placing your hands on your hips. Take a smooth breath in through the nose. And then on your exhale, you'll come forward just halfway. So where you can extend your spine, crown of the head forward, hips back. Hug your last set of ribs in, avoiding any sway in your spine. And then gently put weight into the toes so that the big toes ground as heavily as the heels do. And then on your next inhale, start to rise, coming all the way back up, firming the muscles of your legs to the bones of your legs. Okay, let's do that again. Take a smooth breath in. And then on your exhalation, you'll start to forward fold. Send your hips back, crown of the head forward. Weight into your feet, into your toes. And then as you inhale, start to rise, coming up, press down into those feet to lift and feel your leg muscles engage. All right, so this time we're going to fold all the way and add a little bit of a shoulder stretch. Take a smooth breath in. As you exhale, forward fold. Now forward fold all the way. Hands come down to the floor. Let the weight of your head drop. Okay, and then interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your heels of your hands together. And it's okay to keep your elbows bent here, trying to kind of lift the hands further up toward the middle of your back. Drop your head, slight tuck of the chin so you're looking between the knees. And then the option here is to extend the elbows straight so the knuckles lift up to the sky. Then lift your shoulders away from your neck and your ears. Opening up the front of the chest as you come into this forward fold. Keep squeezing the heels of the hands together. Keep lengthening the crown of the head towards the floor. Let's take 2 to 3 more breaths right here. On your next exhalation, release the interlace of your hands. Kind of just run your hands down the back or sides of the legs. Bring your hands in underneath your shoulders. Inhale, lengthen your spine, come up onto the fingertips. Hands back onto your hips. Inhale, rise. And make sure you are coming up on the inhale so you don't get dizzy. All right, so from our wide stance, we're going to take this into Warrior II. Warrior II. So from here, lift the toes of your left foot. Lift the toes of your left foot. And then from the heel, pivot and turn the toes out 90 degrees. Okay? And kind of eyeball, once again, you're trying to connect the dots from that left heel to the inner arch of your back foot. So you might have to move your left foot in just a tad. And then your back foot, push the heel away from you. So you got that foot at about a 35, 45 degree angle. Okay? And now bend your front knee so the underbelly of the thigh is parallel with the floor. And to sort of get a sense of what this leg line feels like, place your hand on the inner thigh and kind of brush it towards the knee. And then careful that the knee hasn't fallen in. There isn't a valgus or medial collapse in that knee. Moving that knee back so that engages your outer leg lines. And then run your hand towards the front of the kneecap and then gently pull your energy down the outside of the leg. And just feel how firm and strong that needs to be. Now at the same time, we have energy and weight down the backside leg. And so as if there were scales underneath each foot, each scale would read exactly half of your body weight. So not favoring all your weight into that bent knee, nor are you putting it into that back heel. Now from here, the pelvis tends to sort of tilt towards the bent knee. So even out the waistband, even out your pelvis, left and right side. Then watch that knee that it didn't turn in on you. And then start to extend your arms out to the side. Gaze across your left middle finger. Relax your shoulders. Stretch your thumbs far away. Stretch your middle fingers out. Stretch your pinky fingers out. Take a smooth breath in. And then on your exhale, relax your arms and straighten that front leg. Lifting the toes of that left foot, send your foot forward. And we'll do this on the other side. So from that right heel, send the toes out. Make your adjustment so that your right heel and your back inside arch are in line. Okay. Grounding through your feet. And then start to bend your front knee so the knee is coming over your ankle. And then feel free to sort of just sense the inner leg seam, the outer leg seam strong through that leg, pressing back through your left. And then poke the heel of that left foot out just a bit so you get a little bit more of an angle on that back foot. And once you have your feet in place, just start to sense where your hips are and even out from left to right, not kind of lunging into that bent knee. Good. Reach your arms all the way out to your side. Lengthen your spine. Resist your shoulders from leading. Keep your shoulders stacked right over those hips. Press down through your feet. Gaze across your right middle finger here. And then on your next exhale, release your arms, straighten your right knee, and turn your toes forward. Good. Now we're heading into our next standing pose, Warrior One. So coming up onto that left heel again, turn the toes back out. All right. Now this stance is a little bit shorter than the Warrior Two that we were in. So go ahead and bring that back foot in a little bit more. And turn your hips over to your left. Okay? So here we want square hips toward that left leg, left knee. Bending your front knee. And then as you look down, eyeball, instead of a heel to arch alignment, you're looking for a heel to heel alignment. Okay? So need to make any adjustments in through your feet. That's absolutely fine. Bend that front knee. And then look down towards your front foot and sense that your right knee is somewhere floating between your left big toe, left side, left big toe or left second toe. Okay. Square your hips, square your shoulders over your hips. And now here's where we want to apply the lifting or the pulling up of those suspenders. So first inhale your arms up toward the ceiling. And then resist arching the back, pull up on those suspenders, and feel that hug your lower abdominal muscles in as you remove any overarching in your lower back. Keep reaching the arms up. Settle your shoulders down. And then from here, begin to straighten your front knee, pressing your big toe into the floor. Resist your hips from opening. Keep them square and forward over your left leg. Keep your back knee nice and straight. And then start to fold forward over that left leg. Placing your hands here on yoga blocks or the floor, whatever you're needing. Just using the blocks to bridge that gap between your hands and the floor. Now, focus on squaring through the hips here. These next movements are quite subtle actions, but helpful in stretching the outer hips, the hamstrings of the legs. So gently draw your left hip back and your right hip forward, squaring yourself over your right leg versus keeping that right outer hip open. Okay? Feel how that aligns your trunk over your left leg more. And then your front big toe may want to lift on this. Firm that big toe down so you keep your inner leg seam engaged. Find your edge in your fold. Keep your back leg firm. Take a quick peek at that right foot, right leg. See the knee is straight. And the back heel is down. Let's take another breath. And then on your next inhale, just lifting your head, looking forward. We're going to pick up the back heel so that you're on all 5 right toes. Bend your front knee 90 degrees over your ankle. And then on your next inhale, lift the arms, coming into a high lunge. Now here we'll apply the lift of those suspenders again. So this might be how your back looks or feels at the moment. Pull up on those suspenders, pulling your pelvis forward, engaging your core muscles, lifting your rib cage, reaching your arms up to the sky. Nice deep breaths, maybe sinking a little bit deeper into that front knee, breathing and hold. And then relax your arms, straighten your front leg, and we'll drop that back heel. Okay? So let's take this to the other side. We'll bring our left toes forward. Our right foot turns out. Okay. And then we'll need to square the hips more over that left leg. Okay. Front knee is bent over the ankle, and you want to do the heel-to-heel alignment here. Right heel lined up with that back left heel. Making any adjustments that you need. Trying to draw that outer left hip forward. Inhaling your arms straight up to the ceiling. Sense that back leg firm. Resist leaning forward and putting all your weight into that front thigh and foot. Adjusting so that you're straight up. Pulling up on those imaginary suspenders if you tend to have too much of a sway in your low back. And then get a sense of almost spreading the mat between your feet, like you want to rip the mat apart, really engaging your legs. Another breath or two. And then begin to straighten your right knee. Fold forward over that leg, placing your hands on a block. Square the hips here as much as you can, so that outer left hip you're trying to draw forward. Your outer left hip you're trying to pull back. So the pelvic hip bones are square to the floor. Ground your right big toe into the mat. At the same time, firm your back leg, pressing that left heel into the mat. And forward fold deep over the leg. Find your healthy edge. And then slowly start to re-extend your spine. We're going to bend the front knee, 90 degrees over the ankle. Pick up that back heel, so you're on all 5 of those back toes. And then careful with your balance. Inhale, reach your arms up toward the ceiling. Pull up on those shiny red suspenders. Pull them in and up. Good. So your low back is safe. You're secure in your foundation. Your ribs are lifting up away from your hips. Legs fully engaged. Breathe and hold. On your exhalation, lower your arms. Drop your back heel. And we'll straighten the knee, toes facing forward. Okay. From here, begin to either heel toe your feet back together or a little hop your feet back together, coming to the middle of your mat. As you inhale, take your arms, reach them straight up to the ceiling. And then on your exhale, lower your arms, stretch them out to the sides. Reach your fingers out in opposite directions. Relax your arms down. Okay, arms out to the sides and up and down again. Inhale, arms up, pressing down through your feet. Exhale, lowering your arms down. And then one more time. Inhale, reach the arms up. And then on your exhale, arms float down. All right, so a little side stretch. On your inhale, we'll lift both arms up toward the ceiling. Grab a hold of your left wrist. Then lift that left side of your body up toward the ceiling as you press that left foot down into the floor. So gently tug that left side so you're stretching it. Take a full breath in through the nose. And then from your mid-ribs, rather than from your hips, begin to bend over to the right from your mid-ribs, not your hips. And as you're bending and leaning this way, press down once again, firm that left foot into the floor. So that's nice and solid as you stretch through your left body, left side body. And then inhale, come back to center. Feel the difference between the sides as you exhale, lower your arms down. And hopefully you feel that on your left, this lift, this energy flowing through your left side all the way up into that armpit. Let's do the same thing on the other. So inhale, take both arms up to the ceiling. Hold on to your right wrist, give it a tug skyward, and then press that right foot into the floor. So you're elongating this right side of your body. Then without moving from your hips, so the hips don't shift, they stay centered, bend from your mid-back. Lean over towards the left, breathing into the right. Keep that gentle tug from the wrist as you firmly ground through that right leg. Keeping your left or your right arm back and away. Let's take another breath here. And then start to lift, restacking your spine. Feel that along your right side. As you exhale, float your arms down to your side. Good. Relax your shoulders. And then inhale, bring the shoulders all the way up to the ears. And then on your exhale, breathe your shoulders back and down. Inhale, shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, shoulders back and down. All right, so one more standing pose. Let's take our feet about hips width apart, really no much wider than hips width. And then start to bend your knees forward. And I'll bring this to the side here. So bring the knees forward, but not so much that you can no longer see your big toes. Right? Check that you can still see even the edges of your toenails in front of your knees. So the feeling is kind of pulling back into your hips. In fact, you might even want to practice this by lifting your toes off the floor and securing your ball mounts. That's also going to help to keep your inner arches engaged so that you don't get the inner knees collapsing. Right? So as you sink down into your seat, you can place your hands on your hips. You can send your arms forward. You can reach your arms overhead. And then lastly, the arms come back here. Okay? So whatever feels right for your shoulders today, sinking deeply into your hips. Again, check, can I still see my toenails? Get nice and deep into your seat. And you should feel this, all the muscles of your legs engaging. The muscles around your thighs, the muscles around your knees, around your shins, even down to your ankles and the bones of your feet. Now relax the toes into the floor. Doesn't mean we shift all our weight into our toes. Keep it back into the heel. Relax your arms. Little bend of the knees. Inhale, arms all the way back up, straight legs. Pull up on your suspenders. Exhale, arms back down to your side. Good. Nice work. Let's make our way into final relaxation. Coming all the way down onto your back. Releasing yourself on the floor. Send your legs out in front of you. Legs and feet about mat's width wide. Arms beside you but not touching you. And gently roll your palms to face up. And then tap the tip of the first finger to the tip of the thumb. Then tap the tip of the middle finger to the tip of the thumb. Tap the tip of the ring finger to the thumb. Tap the tip of the pinky to the thumb. Make fists with your hands, as if you're holding something tight in your palms. Try to do this without tensing any other part of your body. And then begin to release the fist. Let your fingers uncurl away from the palms. Let your fingers release into a natural curl. Feel that release of tension spread through your limbs, your legs, your feet, your neck. Let the weight of your skull release into your mat. A deep sense of relief as the earth now holds you up for a few moments in Shavasana. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Breathing deeper, pulling your awareness back into your body and feeling that awareness rise. Bending your knees, hug your knees into your chest. Roll to any one side and make your way up into a comfortable seat. On your inhale, let's lift the arms, bring them all the way up so the palms join over the crown of the head. And as you exhale, bring your hands down in front of your heart. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.